I definitely would say that there is an uptick in customers buying these precious metals, gold and silver. Silver, I would say, in my case, it's something that I'm buying to turn into gold. Right. So I'm playing the ratio game, right? So I'm in at like 82 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. It's like 85 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold. So I'm not doing that well. I'm down like 3 ounces. But when that ratio changes to, let's say, 60 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold, I'm going to take a big chunk of my silver and turn it into gold.
Hey everybody, Smart Silver Stacker here. I was doing some traveling this week and I'm here in South Florida at Miami Gold Coins with the owner Andrew. I'm really excited to be able to get someone's take on the gold and silver market who works with these products day in and day out. So hey Andrew, how's it going today?
Good, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How was your Christmas holiday?
Very good, spent it with the family, had a good time. Close to home, not too far, but we had a good time.
Wonderful. We got some nice products here that Andrew has put out for us. We got some gold, we got some silver, we even got a little platinum there, that platypus. I'd love to get your take on the gold and silver market as we head into 2024. We've got gold near a record all-time high, but silver just kind of lagging behind, it seems like. So What do you think about the valuations there? Do you think silver is undervalued? Do you think that this is proof that gold is just the better metal to stack? What do you think?
Yeah, I would say that silver is definitely undervalued. It is a precious metal, but it's used more in industry, not so much for investment. It is big on the investment side, but I would say it's used more in industry. iPhones, every piece of electronic has silver in it, which is very important. So when you look at it from that standpoint, you kind of got to think who controls the silver market, who's the mines or the big players, the big fish is what we like to call them. I like to look at it like this. Let's say Apple, for example, needs 1 million ounces of silver for iPhones for the next 10 years. They don't want to be paying $50 for an ounce of silver. We don't know what exactly drives the market. You also have big banks. You can look into this. I think it was Chase that got in trouble last year, manipulating the market. They sell silver on paper, and they only have an example here. I'm not saying because I don't know what they have. Nobody does. But say they have 20 million ounces of silver. They sell 100 million ounces of silver on paper. The people never really take delivery of the product. So there's a lot of manipulation that's involved.
Yeah, they got in trouble for spoofing, right? The JP Morgan trading desk, they were spoofing the price of both gold and silver.
Yes, correct. And it's funny, I think they made like $4 billion and they were fined like $1.8 billion.
Oh yeah, they always get a slap on the wrist,
so
right?
So it's like, okay, so I made $4 billion, you're going to fine me 1.8? I'll do it again next year. No problem. So it's like there's no incentive to stop. But I would definitely say that silver is undervalued. Gold might even be undervalued if you factor in inflation as well. But we are at record highs now. Right now, I think it's like 2070. It hit like 2085 earlier this morning. It's really hard to determine. I'm in this every single day. I've been doing it since I was 8 years old. And there are times where I feel like, I'm going to predict the market and I'm wrong. And then there are other times when I predict the market and I'm right on the money. So it's very difficult to determine what drives the prices of these products. But definitely, of course, supply and demand.
Yeah, well, if you knew where gold was headed tomorrow, where silver was headed tomorrow, you probably wouldn't be selling gold and silver, right? You just chain yourself to a trading desk and trade on leverage, right?
Exactly.
You'd be a billionaire in no time.
100%, exactly. But, you can kind of see the trend. I would say that I called this 2100 by the end of this year. I called it, but, I'm not the only person. I called it based off of just looking at the charts of all the years, listening to what other people are saying, what they're talking about. And that made me determine, I think that by the end of this year, gold's going to be 2100 by the end, like literally in 3 days, whatever we have left. So,
well, it touched over 2100 in overnight trading, right? Got kind of smacked right back down.
On Sunday, it did. It was on a Sunday at like 6:22 p.m. 2 weeks ago. December 3rd, if I'm not mistaken, it was. It hit 2,143, and I remember I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And then I put my phone down. I called my dad and I told him. And then when I got off the phone, I picked up the phone. It was 2120. It had dropped $23. And then I was like, oh my God. And I did some other stuff around the house or whatever. I looked at it again. It was like 2080, and it just went down and down and down. And by the time it opened up Monday, it was like 2020, I think. and it had gone down. I think it went to 1980, 1983, 85, and then it just came back up again.
Yeah, volatility seems baked into the cake here.
It'll move $50 in a day. You know what I mean? Up and down. Silver, that also was a little bit shocking because it was like 25.90 when gold hit 21.40, and it opened up 22.90. It opened up $3 less, which is a big percentage drop for silver. You know, it's more than 10%.
So what have you seen among your customers and in your business as we've seen, new all-time highs for gold and a lot of volatility in the metals market? What are people focusing on right now? Do you see people stacking more silver because it's cheap, or do you see people focused more on gold?
I would say that for the most part, because silver is more affordable, I would say that I'm definitely moving more ounces of silver than I'm moving of gold. I am doing a lot of big transactions in gold. There's 50-ounce transactions, 100-ounce transactions, and I wouldn't say every day, every customer, but there are people that are concerned about the future of the economy and the banking system and where we're heading. What is that? The digital currency,
a CBDC.
CBDC, and people are worried, so they want to have something physical and tangible. My father always told me growing up, if you don't hold it, you don't own it. I'm not against the cryptocurrency. I have some myself. I'm more heavy into precious metals and physical assets.
Crypto feels a lot more like a lottery ticket than a long-term store of value to me.
Definitely. I agree with you there. I think that it does have a lot of good potential, like where you can have this little USB stick in your pocket and you can go anywhere in the world and use it to buy a house. You know what I mean? Not just M&Ms or a bottle of water. I definitely would say that there is an uptick in customers buying these precious metals, gold and silver. Silver, I would say, in my case, it's something that I'm buying to turn into gold. Right. So I'm playing the ratio game. Right, so I'm in at like 82 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold. It's like 85 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold. So I'm not doing that well. I'm down like 3 ounces. But when that ratio changes to, let's say, 60 ounces of silver to 1 ounce of gold, I'm going to take a big chunk of my silver and turn it into gold. Because gold ultimately is the end game, I would say. Me and my brother, this was a while ago, it might not be the right figures now, but we had this discussion on if you had $500,000 in gold and $500,000 in silver, how much would it weigh? $500,000 in gold is like 20 pounds. $500,000 in silver is like 1,200 pounds.
Yeah, you got to have a big vehicle to drive that around for
and
sure.
You're going to be making a lot of trips back and forth to the house, whereas gold, you put it in a backpack, you're out, you're gone. But there is potential with silver. I mean, I'm very strong on that. I believe that right now at 24, it's peanuts compared to what it could be. In 2011, where our dollar took us a lot further than it does today, silver was 49. Right now, inflation at all-time high, silver's $24. It just doesn't make sense. But that's a lot of dealers are thinking the same thing, and they question it.
It makes you wonder, when you see, as you say, inflation out of control and gold hitting new all-time highs, why silver's kind of lagging behind. But for me, it's kind of a conviction play. I mean, like you talk about the ratio. Historically, ratio for hundreds of years was around, 15 or 16?
16 to 1. Now, I think that's a little bit unheard. I don't think we're going to get to that again. I don't think so. I'd love to get to that. I don't think so. I think what's more realistic is like 35, 40 to 1.
Well, that's as low as it got in 2011. Yes. So, I mean, that's not that long ago that we had a 35 to 1 ratio of silver to gold. So
that makes more sense. I would agree with you there.
I tend to agree that is probably more what I would be looking towards. I mean, at 35 gold to silver ratio, I think I would be considering converting a lot of my silver into gold as well.
Of course.
But today, it's hard not to focus on silver.
Of course.
Just because it's so cheap.
It's so affordable.
I like to buy things when they're cheap myself.
Listen, I'm with you 100%. The good thing with silver is, you could buy 100 ounces of silver for $2,500. You buy 100 ounces of gold, you got to bring out 200 grand. You know what I mean? And that's hard to get that. The average person can come in here on a Friday and spend $100 and get a few ounces of silver, every week if you keep it consistent. After a couple of years, you'll be sitting, pretty.
Have a pretty good stack, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I mean, it doesn't really hurt your wallet that much, $100 a week or maybe $50 a week, depending on what people can spend. I would say, we spend that on things we don't even know You have $100 in your wallet, it's gone. You're like, what did I spend that on?
Absolutely.
You're better off putting it into something like this. So I think that silver is still a better buy right now because it's affordable and you can buy a lot and it has the potential to be a lot more. Whereas gold, we're at an all-time high, but I still think gold is a great buy. I love gold. Gold is the end game. It's God's money. So silver. I think silver being that it's so affordable and the potential of where it could be, it's like, you could say it's kind of maybe not like the early days of Bitcoin, but when it was like $1 a coin and now it's like 44,000. Silver's $24 an ounce. In 20, 30 years, I feel like we're gonna be like, I remember when silver was 24, and
100%. Yeah, you won't be able to buy it anywhere near that.
Exactly. So I feel like it is very affordable and cheap right now. I don't really see it going down under 20 again in the future.
What do you see coming in 2024? I mean, I know, look, everybody watching, we don't give financial advice.
No, of course.
Forecasts are forecasts. Nothing's written in stone. Volatility is written in.
Nobody has a crystal ball.
Precisely. But what do you see happening in 2024 with the metals?
I think gold is headed in the right direction. I think, we might get to the 2,300, maybe even 25. I don't know. Possibly during the 2024 year. But I do see silver going over 30. I definitely see it going over 30, and I feel like this time when it does, it's not going to come down. I truly believe that. I mean, look, let's say it goes to 35 or 36 and then comes down to 31. Okay, that's possible, but I don't see it going to 36 and then coming back down to 25. I don't see that. I could be wrong. I feel like 2024 silver should be over $30 an ounce, and it should be higher, but just for average, general average.
Yeah, realistic forecast. $30
exactly.
Seems like a easy target to hit, and people might think, that seems like a big percentage move from where we're at, but that is kind of the nature of the silver market.
Yeah,
it's volatile. It moves faster to the upside
volatile.
and to the downside than gold.
Yes, it does. I remember in 2011 when it was like 49, I think it was 49, in like 2 days it went from 49 to 32. That's $17 drop. That's a huge loss, but it also went up pretty quickly. I remember it was moving like $4 a day. I remember it was like 32, and then by the end of the day it would close at 36, and I was like, oh my god. And the next day it would open at 37 and close at 41. I was like, what's going on? This wasn't normal. Typically silver, throughout my lifetime working in this business and being around it, I've been around it since I was 8 years old. I would say that it typically never really moved more than $1 a day, like 10, 20 cents here. And then when there was something crazy, it would move like $1. You're like, wow. And now like $2 seems like a norm for it to drop or go up in any given day. I'm not saying any day, but there could be some event that drives the market, and silver doesn't just move 50 cents, it moves $2, $3, and it's like, wow, that's a big deal. So I don't know, nobody really knows where it's going to be, like you said, and I want silver to be a lot higher because I have a big position in it, of course, as well. I feel like it just should be, it's too cheap.
Yeah, I have kind of mixed feelings about it. I mean, I have a fairly sizable position, for myself, in silver as well, but I do like that it's so cheap because I am still stacking it,
of course.
And it's nice when you can buy things on sale. So I do kind of have mixed feelings. I do think ultimately it's going to be heading higher. And you talk about those big price moves that we saw in 2011, and you think about the differences between now and 2011. I mean, all the problems that were in the economy then, the debt, the inflation, all of those things have grown so dramatically that, I suspect we're going to come to a time when we see moves like $4 being, not that unusual an occurrence.
Correct. I agree with you. I agree with you as well. I think you're right there. One big thing that is important to note is that in 2011, our economy was recovering after 2008, and the inflation was not nearly as high as what it is now. I remember because I was looking for a house to buy in 2011. So the house was like $500,000. That house today is 1.4 million. $500,000 to 1.4 million. And silver has gone down. Why? It doesn't make any sense. I really strongly believe it's heavily manipulated by the big banks and corporations that have big positions in it. It costs more to mine silver than what it is an ounce. Maybe it's about the same thing, but again, people will say that it's a byproduct of other mining materials, which is fine. I just don't see it staying around $24 for too long with the way the world is heading and everything's gone up in price. You know, you go to lumber at Home Depot has gone up, and this is still the same.
Yeah, there's not too many commodities that are trading at half their price from 1980.
Exactly.
There's very few. So.
Very few. And again, these are, I mean, look, this was currency, right? You have half dollars, quarters, dimes. This was actual money at
Yeah,
the
we
time.
got some junk silver there. I love that. Harkens back to maybe a better time for the U.S. economy.
Yes, definitely.
All right, well, I want to say a big thanks for having me here today, Andrew, and chatting with me.
Anytime.
Let me ask you to wrap things up. Let's say I give you a hypothetical situation here. I give you $5,000 cash. What are you stacking today? Not the bullion dealer in you, but the stacker in you. What are you going to go for?
5,000. I'd probably just buy an ounce of gold and the rest in silver. Really, I mean, in the end of the day, that's what I would do, because if you told me 10,000, maybe I get 3 ounces of gold and the rest in silver, you know. But I feel like with 5,000, 1 ounce of gold, you know, $2,000, a little over $2,000, and then a little over 100 ounces in silver. That's a good position to start taking, you know. I mean, of course, and then you just go from there. But if you do buy, if you do stack, what I will recommend, stay consistent. Keep your consistency there. Make it, you don't have to buy all in one shot. You know, you can buy a certain amount every month or every week or whatever you can afford that doesn't affect your daily budget. But if you stay consistent, your dollar cost average will be great, and you'll be very pleased in the future. And 10 years from now, I would say, you'll be very pleased at your costs for this product.
Well, thanks a lot, Andrew. I hope you have a happy new year, a good 2024. Anybody in the South Florida area, make sure you stop by Miami Gold Coins. You can chat with Andrew about this stuff and pick up some gold and silver. I'll catch everybody next time. Thanks for watching.
Guys. Happy holidays. Happy New Year.
Stay safe and happy stacking. Smart Silver Stacker out.